KWT slaying.
What if the truth was never lost, only buried? For centuries, historians, scholars, and even colonial records have confirmed what many tried to silence. The original Israelites were a black people scattered across continents but never erased. Their skin was dark, their customs ancient, and their covenant with Yah eternal. This journey uncovers how the Spanish and Portuguese Jews, described as dark-skinned, Semitic, shared one bloodline. Chased by the Inquisition, many fled to Portugal, then beyond, preserving their heritage across borders. But the story doesn't end in Iberia. Across from West Africa, black Jews built synagogues, kept Torah, and passed down the laws of Moses. The Limba in southern Africa, the Igbo in Nigeria, the Beta Israel in Ethiopia, tribes across the continent boldly declare, "We are the children of Israel." These aren't isolated claims. These are voices rising from the dust, connected by oral histories, Torah traditions, and the unbroken rhythm of their identity. No such legacy exists among European Jews. No centuries of tribal witness, no matching traditions, no trace of ancient covenant keeping. Maps, art, and archaeology tell the same story. The Israelites were scattered, enslaved, and displaced, but never lost. The world always knew who they were. Their presence was visible, their customs alive, their story intact. This book doesn't speculate. It confirms the Israelites were black, bound by blood, culture, and covenant to the Most High. This is not just history, it's restoration. The truth was never destroyed, only buried beneath centuries of deception. Get your copy of They Always Knew We Were Israelites today, available now on Amazon.com.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom. So before we get started, give me a 1 if I sound okay. Give me a 2 if I don't. And sorry that I'm late, family. I told y'all my sleep is off, so my bad. I forgot to set my alarm. I tell you, it gets rough sometimes. But let me ask y'all a question before we get started. Do y'all think we're in Revelation 12 now? Yes or no? I'm just asking for someone. Yes or no? Y'all think we're in Revelation 12 now? I'm curious to see. I see some yeses. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now, Tail Ministries email is TOTW7101@gmail.com for all of the people who want to send me apologies. I'm just saying. If y'all want to apologize, that's my email. I'm not glorifying nothing, family. I'm just teasing. Right. Somebody said All right, brother Azal. He thought I'd take him by ice. Ice, ice, baby. Too cold. Y'all know I'm going back in my old days. College time, family. Not that I'm a Greek. I'm not a Greek. Before y'all try to beat me up, I'm not a Greek. I know Israel. I knew it. I knew it. Anyway. So, fam, I saw some of the comments before I started, and the question was, are we gonna fight? What we gonna do? We're gonna flee, right? We're gonna flee. I told y'all they're gonna push us out. And who can make war with the beast, right? Who can make war with the beast? And there's a complex dialectic going on. A lot of people don't see it. But let's just get on with it, and we'll talk about some things, and yeah, let me just get started. We'll get into it.
Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor.
That to me was the most scary part of the entire speech. I mean, there was a lot of rambling, there was a ton of lies, but the scariest part was when the president talked about using the military and using our cities as a training ground for the United States military. Now, the military has done training in cities before, but that's not what I think he's talking about here. He's talking about using the military in ways that we should not see in America. And I'm very worried about this. I think that the whole part of bringing these generals and admirals back here was to discuss this type of thing. And it should scare us all. This is something that we just don't do in America. We have police forces to fight crime, and we should be, putting money into those police forces, not sending American troops that are trained for war to American cities.
I told Pete.
So she said we shouldn't send American troops that is trained for war in American cities. I mean, I know posse comitatus means they're not supposed to be used against American citizens, but hey, Constitution is dead. I hope y'all know that. I hope y'all know. Give me one if you know that the Constitution dead. Give me two if you don't think it's dead. So they use military when they're at war. I told y'all they're at war with us, didn't I? All right, let's continue. Not to make y'all scared. I know some of y'all be scary and stuff, but it's all part of prophecy, and that means the Most High is coming for us. But, it's going to be interesting times.
Know what Trump and Hesketh's meeting of the generals was all about, and it's about them declaring war on American cities. That's right. They want to declare war and wage war in our inner cities in America. This is what Trump said. He even suggested using our cities as training for the military in war. If you are not understanding this yet, Trump wants to use our military against us, the people of America. He said that inner cities are a big part of war now, a big part of war. That's what Trump said. If this doesn't disturb you, I don't know what will. This should be upsetting to every single American in this country. Never in the history of this country has a president openly declared war on Americans and American cities. He even started off his speech to the generals and admirals by saying, if you don't like what you're hearing here, you can leave and you'll lose your rank and you'll lose your future. Now, this ass clown is still going on with his speech, so we'll see what else gets said, if anything else like this crazy shit that's going on is said. But I hope our military stands strong and defends our Constitution that they swore an oath to all enemies, foreign and domestic. Let me know if you agree. Let me know what you think about this.
So the question is, fam, do y'all think they're going to send the military in to send a few Negroes back to Africa? I'm just asking for a friend. I'm just asking for a friend. Do y'all think they have plans? That's why I told y'all. I said I think there's a complex dialectic happening here, and everybody's involved in it. Everybody's being manipulated. Uh, you know what I'm saying? It just makes me wonder. It seems like all of this is planned. Everybody knows but you. That's all I'm saying. Everybody knows but you, right? So let's continue here because we be living in some interesting times, family. Interesting times.
In this building, and she says she was detained by ICE agents overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? And I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Trucks and military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
So people say that Venezuelans were in there, but she don't look like a Venezuelan to me. Well, you know, there's this woman, and this is a black woman that I've seen on TikTok, and she's saying that, you know, they were after the Venezuelans. And why is everybody upset and scared? Okay, well, if they were after the Venezuelans, then how come they took the black folks and the black kids and zip tied them and had them zip tied and in detention for over 3 hours? I'm just asking for somebody in the back room. How come they were zip tied if they were just after the Venezuelans? Come on now. We know better. My man raised no fools now. You know that, right? Because, you know, we got to understand these people, they've been after us for a long, long, long time. Now, we're going to look at, you know, a little, this goes a little further in it. It might be a little more detailed, but, you know, you're going to hear some of the same stuff, but a little more detail. So let's continue.
Mivers Club in Atlanta, 5 Plus News. I'm John. ICE and other federal agents are currently in Chicago to fight against crime and immigration on behalf of President Trump's latest push to clean up cities across the country. Now, at the top of September, we reported Trump's threats to send in the National Guard to Chicago, only to be met with pushback from city officials and warnings from some of their residents that gangs in Chicago would not be an easy fight. Now, part of Operation Midway Blitz, ICE and other agents have begun sweeping through Chicago, which has now raised concerns of Black Chicago residents and others on who ICE is targeting. Just 2 nights ago, close to 300 armed agents would raid an apartment complex in a Black neighborhood at 2 a.m. According to reports, the raid was expected to focus on potential Venezuelan immigrants and gang members, but would end up disrupting the lives of Black residents and children during the night.
Shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents.
One of the Black American residents whose door was kicked in and was detained would share what he experienced, sharing that he was put into a van with others after assuming agents had the wrong home. While speaking to local outlet Block Hub Chicago, the man would go on to reveal, "They didn't tell me why I was being detained." Another Black Chicago resident who was also detained will go on to tell local news about the moment she was grabbed by ICE.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? And I told them no.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m.
Upon this report now circulating online, many fellow Black Americans are speaking out about what they're hearing coming out of Chicago, some even fearing that they could be next. Several would take to TikTok and social media to respond.
Y'all, few Black people that were so happy about them going after the Hispanic people. I told y'all when this first started, we were next.
So I made a video a few months back, and all of my comments, people were telling me this ain't got nothing to do with African American people, this ain't got nothing to do with Black people, they only rounding up the Mexicans, so on and so forth. And I kept saying, this is going to roll over into our communities. This is going to affect us in some way, shape, or form. Like, stop being.
I told y'all we were the targets. I don't care if they were going after immigrants. I told y'all we were the indirect targets. They could not come directly at us, right? They had to take the long route around, the long path to get to us, right? They had to create the imagery that they're doing is to protect America from illegal immigrants and crime, right? And I told y'all we were the target from jump. That's if you believe the Bible, right? Some of y'all don't. Y'all say y'all do.
And so naive to make it seem like they're just targeting one group of people, because that's not the case. And then what happens in Chicago? In the middle of the night, ICE detained for several hours African American people, and not just adults, children as well. Children as well.
Zip tied, mind you, zip tied, but they only after Venezuelans, right? Okay.
They are detaining and then asking questions later.
In case you ain't know, them folks done ran up into an apartment complex in the middle of Chicago. Regardless of how them folks spoke, regardless of where they said they was from, regardless of how they appeared, they got thrown into a van and sent in for questioning. Some folks didn't get out until 3 a.m. and that's for the older elderly women. That means that is an illegal search. That is an illegal arrest, going into your property, search and seizure, and then sending you in for questioning. And if you had a warrant out for your arrest, you're not getting sent back. That is not normal. That is not okay.
Now, over on X, one user was sharing a message to help fellow Chicago residents defend themselves against ICE.
I am super excited to go shopping for some new fall clothes. I saw that UGG has like some really cute shoes out right now, and I am super excited. I think that they would look better with like some baggy jeans, you know, like the kind that like Taylor Swift and Cardi.
I like this sister. She's smart. I like her. That's in order for her video to gain traction. I'm like, that was smart.
Wear, and then like maybe a cute little crop top, a crop, you know, sweater or something. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, maybe Macy's. See what I can find, because you know it's getting cold out here in these streets.
While another user on X would encourage more people to talk about this latest raid and Black people being detained. ICE is kidnapping Black people in Chicago, and silence is violence, so effing say something. A part of the news circulating on ICE in Chicago, a video has now surfaced showing a Black man being choked by an agent in broad daylight, adding to more concerns of Black Americans now being targeted as well.
So, Brother A said, glad there isn't no reincarnation, right? I ain't no prophet. But I can tell you one thing. I can see, you know, the scriptures, right? You know, I just teach what I see. And I, you know, at the end, I'm gonna share something with y'all, and you know, just another, you know, what I see. But let's continue.
According to reports, the man was detained due to a possible connection to a robbery. Now, outside of the growing concerns of Black Chicago residents, not everyone appears to be upset about the recent ICE presence in Chicago. A video is now making the rounds online showing two older white women thanking agents during a patrol, in which one of the agents can be heard, "We work for you."
We work for you. We work for you.
So let's talk about it more in the comments below. Should Black people be concerned about ICE raids in Chicago and other cities?
So, family, yes or no? Should Black folks be concerned about ICE raids in your city and other cities? Yes or no? Y'all know my position on it. I believe the dragon's chasing a woman, obviously. Interesting times, interesting times, interesting times, right? So, all right, let's go.
This is my second attempt at this video. There are helicopters everywhere. Ooh, my head hurt. There are helicopters everywhere. And I have managed to dodge getting snatched twice today. So I picked my kids up early and I came home. I'm saying this because it seems like the people around me who aren't in this situation aren't taking this serious, and then there are people who live here who aren't taking this seriously. But there's been a helicopter hovering over my building for the past week or so. At first I thought it was because somebody got murdered, but today I seen another one, but the helicopter looked different. It was like the National Guard, or it just wasn't a regular helicopter. I'm afraid because I am out here by myself. They're pulling children out of school. They're throwing tear gas. They're snatching families up. If I go missing, I am not suicidal. I am not trying to run away from my family. And I have not gone into hiding. We have been advised to stay in the house. My family is in need of food. I was gonna go to the pantry tomorrow. I'm strongly debating that. I don't know if y'all hear that. That's another helicopter. They're coming. They have been hovering over my building. They are coming. It is predominantly Black and Hispanic in the building and in the community that I stay in. I don't give a fuck about a bitch disparaging my name on the internet. I don't. I don't. If you are in the area and you are a parent and if you want to organize, please inbox me. I will be checking my inbox. I don't know.
So my question is, what did a lot of people think the dragon chasing the woman would look like? Right? If you had to imagine in a real world scenario what the dragon chasing the woman of Revelation 12 would look like, would it look like this? Yes or no? See, we're in the beginning phase, right? We're in the beginning phase. And I hope you got your bags packed. I decided instead of using the bags I had, I ordered me a new bag. Because, you know, I'm only going to really be able to carry 2 of my bags. So you better be able to, you know, take your important stuff, set it up. Just like Inquisition 2.0, just like it. Just like it. Chase us out. Trying to chase us out again. It just ain't going to work out the way they thought. The pit that they dig for us, they're going to fall in themselves. Oh, yeah.
Claiming a need for the protection. Moments ago, the Illinois National Guard received word that the Department of Homeland Security has sent a memo to the Department of War seeking the deployment of 100 military troops to Illinois, claiming a need for the protection of ICE personnel and facilities. What I have been warning of is now being realized. One thing is clear, none of what Trump is doing is making Illinois safer. 2 weeks ago, a man was shot and killed by ICE in Franklin Park, Illinois. Shortly after, ICE issued a statement justifying the killing, saying the federal agent was seriously injured. The Chicago Sun-Times has brought to light that the injuries were, in the agent's own words, nothing major.
Question is, what are you going to do? I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just wondering what's your plan, right? Because some of y'all say, this is my home. I'm not going anywhere. My ancestors died for me to be here and died for me to vote, and I'm not giving up my home. Ignoring the scriptures, mind you, why they say that. That's why I always say, do you believe the scriptures? I believe the scriptures.
This is the United States of America, and all that bullshit is done. It's over. It's finished. You know, the gangbangers that you deal with, they think that they're ruthless. They have no idea how ruthless we are. They think they're tough. They have no idea how tough we are. They think that they're hardcore. We are so much more hardcore than they are. And we have the entire weight of the United States government behind us. What do they have? They have nothing behind them. So we are going to win. They are going to lose. We are going to rescue Memphis. This is the United States.
My question is, who's they? Remember in the other video, Stephen Miller was talking about they. I'm like, who's they? We know who they is. Oh, well, the they is the left. Who's the left? They classify the left as black folks. So Chicago first, Memphis next. Are you ready, Memphis? I'm just asking. Are you ready, Memphis? Y'all next. Then coming New Orleans, New York, Baltimore. What's the plan? I'm just asking. I don't know. Because some of y'all say we're not going to flee. Y'all heard that, right? Y'all, how many of y'all heard a lot of people say we're not going to flee? Give me a 1 if you heard a lot of people say we're going to flee. Give me a 2 if you didn't. A lot of people say we're not going to flee. So what's your plan? What's your plan? Still saying we're not going to flee? If you're not going to flee, what's your plan? You going to let them plagues fall on your head?
I was walked out of the building and fired for whistleblowing. I worked on civil rights. I enforced the Fair Housing Act and civil rights laws in housing. I held businesses and states and governments accountable, and the administration does not consider that a priority. And so they've done everything they can to stifle that work and to get rid of our ability to do that work. It's everything that you could imagine, from saying not to investigate certain types of cases, getting rid of the investigators that would investigate it, stopping investigations, slowing down investigations. That's what I mean when I say we can't do our job. It's that deep. That means people are currently homeless that don't need to be homeless. There's people currently in physical danger, mortal life or death danger, that don't need to be. And it's not going to be just me. Almost our entire team is being moved away from that work and to defending the agency instead of actually serving the American people directly. That's why I had to speak out. This was done not because they thought it was actually legal or that I did anything wrong, but it was to silence me and anyone else who would speak out about the truth. But I'm just not going to let that happen. Earlier this morning, I was walked out of the building and fired for whistleblowing. I worked on civil rights. I enforced the Fair Housing Act and civil rights laws and housing. I held businesses and states and governments accountable, and the administration does not consider that a priority. And so they've done everything they can to stifle that work and to get rid of our ability to do that work. It's everything that you could imagine, from saying not to investigate certain types of cases, getting rid of the investigators that would investigate it, stopping investigations, slowing down investigations. That's what I mean when I say we can't do our job. It's that deep. That means people are currently homeless that don't need to be homeless. There's people currently in physical danger, mortal life or death danger, that don't need to be. And it's not going to be just me. Almost our entire team is being moved away from that work and to defending the agency instead of actually serving the American people directly. That's why I had to speak out. This was done not because they thought it was actually legal or that I did anything wrong. It was to silence me and anyone else who would speak out about the truth. But I'm just...
So if you still think there's constitutional protections, if you think the civil rights laws are still valid and enforced, you're deceived. I told you Trump is removing all the pillars that support minorities. I'm going to say it that way. But I find it interesting that our people, I'm not talking about the awakened Israelites, I'm talking about just black folks, right? Whether you're awakened or not, don't know how to support each other, right? If the ones that have the wealth would, invest in this ministry, invest in Quest to Unite Africa, to invest in other ministries, Ashonda, Pastor Rick, right? There's things we could do for our people, but our people are selfish. But I get it, a lot of them sold out, right? A lot of them are boule. But they know what's coming and they're preparing for it. But let's continue and see what's happening in this strange, crazy world that we're living in.
Big news right now, the country is waking up to a massive military purge. Overnight, the Trump administration fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Navy chief in an unprecedented purge of military leadership. Trump announced that he would be dismissing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles Q. Brown, and replacing him with Air Force Lieutenant General John Dan Razin-Kane. Pete Hegseth fired Admiral Lisa Franchetti, the chief of the Navy. In addition, the Trump administration is moving now to replace several JAG officers. JAG officers are Judge Advocate Generals. They are lower level attorneys in the military. Their job is literally to enforce the military code of justice. When a service member does something wrong, they prosecute, they defend, etc. But this massive military purge is likely just the beginning of what is going to be a very long several weeks for the Pentagon, whether a reduction of workforce, a purge of civilian or military officers, and more. I'm about to do a full breakdown of this and more on my Substack shortly, so subscribe for free at the link in my bio. As always, follow.
I told y'all that meeting that he had with the generals was to flex his muscles and say, hey, whose side are you on?
You see things through the rubric of game theory, and I'm wondering if maybe you could give us the high level view of where you see things going in terms of geopolitical calamity. Are we heading into World War III? What does that look like to you? And how do we understand that through the prism of game theory?
So I think the next 5 years, there'll be two major flashpoints in the world. The first will be the Middle East, of course. I'm expecting within the next week or 2 weeks for Israel to resume airstrikes against Iran. And in round two, we expect that the fighting will be much more sustained, much more fierce. And eventually, I think this will culminate in a ground invasion, American ground invasion of Iran. So I think that is one major flashpoint that will be consistent for the next 5 years, and something that we must watch very, very closely. I think that as this war in Iran continues to ramp up, Israel will be more extreme in its behavior. So one thing that we should look out for is the possibility that the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem will be destroyed. Now, as you know, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is the third holiest site in Islam. And if it is destroyed in order to make way for the building of a third temple, then we can see massive discontent throughout the Islamic world. And this may cause actually revolutions within the Islamic world. Places like Jordan are particularly vulnerable to a revolution right now.
Apparently, the news just came in that there was more THAAD deployments, another 4 launchers.
Yes.
And so to me, that's kind of the setup. And you have all this tanker activity right now, these KC-135s flying around Europe. You know,
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of signaling and misdirection prior to the last Iranian attack on Iran. So what makes you think that it's going to be in the next few weeks? I mean, today Trump and Netanyahu came out and said, hey, we got this. It's going to be eternal peace in the Middle East, they're saying. So problem solved, right? Isn't the situation resolved now as a result of this?
Right. So first of all, we have to be very suspicious what Trump and Netanyahu say, right? Because remember,
I'm being just so for the record,
I
everybody
understand,
knows. Yeah, sarcasm. Yeah.
Right. So right before Trump attacked Iran, there was peace negotiations. Right. So it was almost like they caught Iran off guard, or they were taking advantage of Iran. So I think that, right before they strike, they want to present an image as a peacemaker. And I don't know why they do this. Maybe it's because it's a joke. Maybe they think it's really funny that they do this. They have all these inside jokes among them. I mean, it's really a cult what they do. But the signs are pretty obvious. So certain signs is that Iran themselves have come out and said that they expect to be attacked within the next week. Russia, TASS, the news agency, have said that they expect Iran to be attacked. Recently, Iran has paid off all its outstanding obligations to IMF. So its overseas debt has been cleared. Iran was removed from the SWIFT system. And as you say, there's all this military buildup. So I just feel like all these things are just massive signals to us that an attack is being prepared. And I think the last step is for Trump to meet with his generals, which is expected sometime this week. I'm not sure what the date is, but
tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow. But this is
our tomorrow, your today.
Right. So
September 30th.
So as you said many times, this is unprecedented. And this is a major signal that something big is happening. Now, there have been different rumors. There's rumors of a purge because, the military is top heavy. You've got like 40 4-star generals for about 1.32 million combat soldiers. That's just ridiculous. So you can expect downsizing. But there's also rumors that these officers, these generals, will have to swear loyalty to Trump rather than Constitution. I don't think that's likely, but it's also possible. But I think that no matter how you analyze it, the groundwork is being laid for a massive campaign somewhere. Maybe it's Venezuela, maybe it's Iran. I expect both places actually. But I think they're calling for the meeting because they want to prepare the military bureaucracy for a conflict.
So it's interesting that this is happening because, like I said, it all aligns with Revelation, right? Revelation chapter 12, going to be leading into 13, digital ID leading to the mark of the beast. It aligns with Jeremiah 50:51. It aligns with 2 Ezra 15. But hey, nothing to see here, right?
The power outage as apocalyptic. And any we spoke with called the incident simply scary.
We know, was it 2021? Hamza bin Laden, one of the sons of Osama bin Laden, became the military commander, and then about a year later became the emir of Al-Qaeda. And him and his brothers, Saad, Uthman, and Abdullah, are all in on the U.S. plot, which is Al-Qaeda is targeting soft targets, specifically hospitals, medical centers, and other things like that. The intelligence is they've got police uniforms, utility uniforms, fire and rescue uniforms, because the intent is to have first the primary attacks on whatever soft target, including hospitals, and then secondary attacks. But the key is if they attack the hospitals and then are simultaneously doing other soft targets, there won't be anywhere in those cities to take the wounded people. And since we know they have over 1,000 soldiers here, at least, and I'm just talking Al-Qaeda, I'm not talking about all the Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood, Hezbollah, Iranian IRGC forces, just the Al-Qaeda soldiers just for this operation.
All right. When is this operation supposed to, what kind of a time frame are you?
Imminent.
Oh, good.
You know,
All right. So
here's the
and what are the 5 cities? What are the 5 cities?
Miami, Houston. Shoot, I'm going to have to pull it up. Give me a second.
All right. So we're talking about 5 cities. We're talking about.
Put it out in an announcement.
We're following 2 breaking stories tonight. The first, a power outage at Grand Central Terminal. It happened about 8:30, after the evening rush. The outage did not affect train or subway service, but several people were stuck in elevators for a short time. The backup.
So my question to you, family, who controls Al-Qaeda? Who controls Al-Qaeda? Because they're saying it's imminent, this attack by a terrorist. Who controls Al-Qaeda, family? Because it's about to get hot. Just like I told y'all it was. You know, they're going to shut down the grid. They're going to shut down the food places. Yes. That's who controls Al-Qaeda. Right there. Ain't nobody buying that anymore. Gartz is more accurate. Yes. That's who controls Al-Qaeda. And they come out at the time that they need to stir the pot. They come out at times that they need to stir the pot, right? To foster an agenda. I hope y'all see what's happening here. It's coming and it's coming fast. I've been trying to tell y'all, get y'all prepared, especially spiritually first.
In July of 1935, all the top German generals were called for a surprise visit to Berlin and told that their old oath to the Constitution was invalid and they must swear a new one to the tiny Austrian man with a mustache. Just in case you wanted a history lesson.
Things are repeating themselves. Isn't that interesting, family, that things are repeating themselves? History repeats.
Pledge to you that we will root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals. I'll use the word animal because that's what they are. You got to get these people back where they came from. You have no choice. You're going to lose your culture. You're going to lose your country. Does anybody believe in genes? You guys believe in genetics?
A murderer, I believe this. It's in their genes. And we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
See, the thing about Trump, he tells you what he's going to do. He tells you what he's going to do. I'm like, it's not a surprise. And if you're surprised, that's your fault. He told you he's not leaving office. He's not going to leave office. He said, the thing he liked about Putin and Kim Jong-un is that people do it, they say, without any pushback. He pretty much was saying he's a dictator. Remember, Trump told y'all the story of the little snake. Well, you knew I was a snake. Y'all remember he said that, right? He told a little story about the snake crossing the river and the snake bite the turtle, whatever it was. But why did you bite me? Because we're both gonna sink now. Well, that's my nature. You knew I was a snake. Trump told you he a snake. He told you he the devil, but ain't nothing to worry about here. He's a snake. He told you that. Listen. Interesting time. That's all I gotta say.
I didn't know who he was, but he had a very distasteful vibe. And I took my baby son and I moved him from my left arm between the stranger and me to my right arm. So my baby would be between Mario Cuomo and me, not between this man. This man got up to speak, and I remembered that he was introduced as the ambassador from Israel to the United Nations. And I remember sitting there because I'd often hear my parents say this phrase on the south side of Chicago in the Jewish community. That's good for the Jews, or that's bad for the Jews. And in my mind, out loud, I heard, that's the definition of what's bad for the Jews. And I didn't know this man. I knew nothing about him. I just knew he was a threat to my child. And later I learned that that man was named Benjamin Netanyahu. And I loved that I had no idea who he was or what his position meant.
You felt the vibes.
I felt it. Then, I don't remember exactly when, I think what age, it was a while ago, 10, 15 years ago. I was in Philadelphia getting ready to do a concert with Patty, my dear friend Patty LaPone. And then I go up to the hotel room. Catherine was in the hotel room. And the movie, The Princess Bride, was on. She was watching. And just as I walked in the room, is that final scene in the movie where Inigo is sitting by the window with the man in black. And the man in black asks Inigo, would he like to be the next Dread Pirate Robertson? And the Inigo Montoya actor, who was me,
I remember,
at 36 years old, I think, it was 1986, do the math, I was born in 52,
34.
said these words, which I did not really know what they meant, that William Goldman wrote, which I think are the singular greatest words I've ever read. And those words are, were, and always will be. You know, I have been in the revenge business so long. Now that it's over, I do not know what to do with the rest of my life. And I ask Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering not only the state of Israel, which I care deeply about and want to exist, but they are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing, not just since October 7th. It has been a deeply troubled situation. And to watch what is happening for the Jewish people, to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere, all over the world, to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
So that he's talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, who happens to be Trump's boss. Okay. And, you know, if you want to know who's behind all of this, who's awakened the dragon to chase the woman, it's Benjamin Netanyahu. It's Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 that has awakened from sleep to chase the woman. It's the Rev 2:9s behind the military presence in Chicago, in Washington, and soon to be the other cities.
The greatest lie humanity tells itself is that we have outgrown human sacrifice. We call it by different names now and make our offering to different gods. We offer young men we call soldiers, as if the designation means that their mothers cry less when they die. We call masses of humanity collateral damage and turn our eyes away from the pictures of their lifeless bodies as we sip our morning coffee. And the truth is, we don't do it because we are heartless. We do it because we believe that it is necessary for the world to keep running. We do it because we believe that the gods whose favor we so desperately seek, freedom, security, prosperity, flourishing, that they demand blood as the price of their favor. We do it because we cannot see any other choice. And maybe that's why we read the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, on Rosh Hashanah. Because the story of the Akedah isn't about inconceivable obedience. When Abraham prepares to sacrifice Isaac, he is just accepting the same bargain of blood we still accept today, that some need to die for the world to flourish.
She said gods, plural. Go back and listen. She said gods, not God. I've been saying it. The Israel that we know, the Jews that we know, they don't worship God that we think they worship. Go look. This woman said it. That the gods they worship require human sacrifice. They require blood.
I wonder who the real people are then. I wonder who the Rev 29 and 39s are. Christian, Gentiles. I'm just asking. Do you get it now? Let's continue because it all comes full circle. I mean, really, I couldn't write a better script for a dystopian novel or movie. Now, this is from True News back in the day, back in 2019, how it all comes full circle.
Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to White House official. There it is. That's his blog. He said, President Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days. David Elias Goldberg, a fellow at the Jewish Center of Anti-Semitic Study, has also interviewed the White House source. According to the source, Trump was pushed by his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner to join the faith. At first, Trump resisted, stating it would threaten his base of evangelical Christian voters. However, he had a change of heart and officially converted in early 2017. The ceremony was held in private and closely guarded for nearly 2 years. It appears the White House is prepared to slowly release this information, and by summer, it is expected Trump will fully address his new faith in an evening televised news conference. He is clearly the most pro-Israel president in the history of America. He's given Israel every single thing that they've wanted, and he's about to give them war with Iran. And so has he converted? So I want to show you one more article. This is, let me see if I can.
This is Times of Israel.
Yeah, the Times of Israel. This was published March 22nd, 2019. This is the Times of Israel. Trump, the first Jewish president of the United States.
Now, that's not us saying that. That's Times of Israel. Times of what nation? Israel.
So the people in Israel, that's an English-speaking newspaper in Israel, and that's what they read that Donald Trump is the first Jewish president of the United States.
And how did they qualify that, Rick?
They gave a list of things that he did for Israel.
First of
Right.
one, of course, moving the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's right.
That was a big deal.
Then recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
There you go, standing next to his boss. Do y'all get the connection now? And the dragon made war against the woman. I'm just saying. It just happens to be a synagogue there, right? And Revelation 2:9-3:9, I know the blasphemy of them who say they're Yahudim and are not, but do lie. I'm just saying, if they lying, then who's the real people? And if there's a synagogue that serves Satan, and we saw that that woman said that they have to have a blood sacrifice or offering so that they can have peace and security. So basically, some of y'all are cannon fodder. See, the whole thing is to create this new world order run by them. And we are a threat. Why are black folks a threat? I keep telling y'all that. It is because we are the true Yahudim. We're the ones who fit the Deuteronomy 28 curses. And now the whole world is confused and the whole world is on fire.
Want to give a major shout out to Italy, boy. Ooh, Italy standing on business. They hit them with the digital ID too. Italy said, hold my beer. Not a single person going to work. Ain't a single person buying nothing. It's like 36 million people in the street and they taking care of each other and the news ain't saying nothing. Italy standing on business. Italy, them Italians said, man, you're going to break before we do. Shout out to Italy. United States ain't going to be able to do nothing like that. And they ain't even got no guns and nothing. Italy. Think about this. They trying to close off the internet so nobody can know what's going on. Those people are now going on like 8 or 9 days in the streets straight. Do you hear me? Supporting each other, feeding each other, clothing each other, housing each other. And ain't nobody going to work and nobody buying nothing from the stores. And they all sticking together. And they winning. They doing their thing. The government now reconsidering their position, but now they see. They see, you see, the will of the people can outlast the intent of the government.
So the question is, what are we going to do? And, because right now, the digital ID and all this stuff is going around the world, right? UK, right? Canada. Oh, I told you all the other places. And all of these things line up with Torah. It lines up with Revelation 12. It lines up with Revelation 13, right? The mark of the beast. How come all of this stuff is happening at the same time? How come if prophecy isn't coming to pass, how come all of this is happening at the same time in fulfillment of the biblical prophecies themselves? Which means that the Exodus has to be near. Now, the interesting thing is that, as we have the dragon chasing the woman, we have the setup for World War III, which lines up with Revelation, right? With the dragon chasing the woman, and there's also the beast, which is the dragon as well, basically going to war, right? And which ties back to Jeremiah 50:51, which is the kingdom of the north going to invade Babylon, which ties to the call for us to come out of Babylon, so you won't be under these plagues because she's being invaded, many Tekel Euphorison. I'm just saying, so we got all of these prophecies coming to pass all at the same time, right? And it amazes me how people don't get it. But, you know, to me, I can see the nuances, right? A lot of people can't see the nuances, that there's also this setup here, right? Because like I said, you know, we have the dragon chasing the woman, so the woman got to prepare to leave and go into the wilderness, right? We have the setup for World War III, right, which ties into Jeremiah 50:51, also ties into the book of Revelation with Babylon being destroyed, the merchants being upset because they all got rich. Everything is set up. The people in the Middle East are set up as well to, you know, not be there anymore. And then we have this. Now, tell me what you think the hidden plan is here, right? Let's look at this.
Moving on to some news from West Africa, where Benin has appointed its ambassadors in the US. And these are American director Spike Lee and his author-producer wife, Tonya Lewis Lee. The couple is expected to serve as thematic ambassadors. They are tasked with bringing people of African descent closer to their roots. In fact, the duo is also expected to raise awareness among people of African origin and support initiatives that promote their ties with Benin. President Patrice Talon's government said the move will help African descendants to reconnect with their historical, cultural, and spiritual base. The agreement was reportedly finalized during the couple's visit to the country's capital, Cotonou, last week. Lauding the appointees, the Benin government highlighted the couple's long-standing commitment to justice, exceptional creativity, and global reach, and even their role in shaping the contemporary narrative of the African diaspora, as the duo have been advocates for civil rights and social justice. Spike Lee is a well-known face in the US. His DNA analysis traced his father's lineage to Cameroon, while his mother's roots were from Sierra Leone. The filmmaker's work is often based on African American experiences and frequently explores themes of race, identity, and justice. But appointing Lee as Benin's ambassador is part of a wider initiative. Benin has also launched a website. It's a platform where people from enslaved Africans' lineage can apply for citizenship. Tonya Lewis.
So my question to you is, why are they marketing our exit? Why are they marketing our exit? Why are they hiring ambassadors for Benin? Now, Benin is controlled by ECOWAS. I will never go to Benin so long as they're ECOWAS. If they join the Sahel, hey, maybe we could talk. But I will never go to Benin because they're under ECOWAS. I will never go to an ECOWAS country. You can forget that forever, ever. Bunch of coon. But why are they choosing Spike Lee and his wife as ambassadors? Why? Because they plan on you going there. See, what happens is Trump removes the pillars of economic support for the Negro, right? Because most Negroes work for the government, so he's kicking most of them out. He's removing the ability to have Medicare and Medicaid, so you won't be able to go to the doctors. He's making the cost of goods go high, and since you don't have a job, you can't get no food, a day's wage for a loaf of bread. He's removing the pillars so that you can stay in your house or in your apartment, because now you don't have no money and now you're homeless. It makes Benin looks very, very appetizing. I told y'all, I've been watching this for a while. I've been seeing what's happening. To me, it's like reading a book. But the interesting thing as well is that it's in fulfillment of the prophecies, right? Like I mentioned in other shows of Trump communicating with these African nations to take immigrants. Yeah, the initial thought was that, oh, they just gonna send the criminals there, the Venezuelans there, the Mexican there, the whoever is right, and they send one or two. But the reason, the true reason, the hidden reason, the unspoken reason of why Trump was making these connections with the African nations is because they plan on for you going there. Jeremiah 29:14 says that you're going to go back to the place you were taken from. I taught y'all that how many years ago? And now they have these ambassadors going there. But at the same time, you can see the fulfillment of prophecy because what? We got to go into the wilderness. The Most High told us in Jeremiah 50, keep Zion in mind when you fleeing Babylon. I know some of y'all think America Zion and all that foolishness. That's y'all. We got sane people over here. So when we keep Zion in mind as we flee, Most High telling you where you going. If you bought my book, you know where Zion is. It's in Africa. It's not the Middle East. I don't understand how people still think the Middle East is our land. It really boggles my mind. But we're here. And I don't think we have a lot of time left, relatively speaking.
African booty scratcher, go back to your country. You don't belong here. Blah, 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 blah. I'm from that era where we had to go through the hazing period of being African in America. But fast forward to today, everyone and their mama are flying back to Africa for a good old time. And now the world is familiar with jollof rice. Man, oh man, we have come a long way with trying to show and prove how beautiful Africa is. But because of social media, the notion has shifted. That stereotype image is slowly erasing because more and more celebrities have been embracing, visiting, and moving to Africa. It helps because mainstream media puts so much emphasis on celebrities and what they do. So by them displaying and talking about the beauties of Africa, it's helping to put a major target on the continent's back, just like these celebrities. Ludacris. Now it's all starting to make sense now. Cause when Ludacris did that song, All Around the World, in his last bar he raps, but where the best at? Ain't no need of asking, bro. The best women all reside in Africa, and that's real. Well, it was very obvious then that Ludacris loved his African women because the song came out in 2004 and him and his wife didn't meet until 2014. So I guess he was foreshadowing. But his wife, Yaduxi, is from the country Gabon, located in West Africa, and she's a very beautiful woman. So all that Cat Williams talk about him getting a light-skinned chick is voided because Luda didn't get a regular light-skinned chick. He got an African sister with some cultural home values and morals, so he should be in good hands. But he married his wife back in 2014 and they now have 2 kids together at the time of this recording. Back in January 2020, Ludacris had got his dual citizenship from his wife's country of Gabon, and he's been living it up ever since. He has a huge house there. He brings his family there every summer and every often they feel like it. And the kids are getting a lot of cultural values in them. And in his most recent trip, he's installing clean water in villages and going to be providing more food and resources now that he's a citizen, which is a benefit to everyone living around there. It's only the beginning for him, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna build some businesses and more real estate. Let's continue to watch as things develop with him. Sierra. She recently got her citizenship from the country of Benin, West Africa. She was able to get this because the country started a new program called Afro Descendants Initiative, which is designed to reconnect descendants of enslaved Africans with their ancestral homeland. So through tracing her DNA roots, she found out that she had Benin in her and wanted to embrace that side. So she took a trip there to get the official greeting, and it was a beautiful moment for her. This is only the beginning for her as she's now stepping into her Benin chapter. So expect her to start doing more work with the country. Khalees. She took her milkshakes and moved her whole family to Kenya and has been living her life there full-time ever since. Her journey first started with her touring different African countries like Zanzibar, Cameroon, South Africa. And when she landed in Kenya, she fell in love with everything about it and made it home away from California. She has been farming, but she just recently officially launched her We Farm investment project, which you can purchase and invest on the farm. Along with with that, she's also building a luxury resort with some beautiful attractions to add to it. All of this is helping to generate money for the country by making it tourist friendly and modern, which will attract more travelers to come. She's also partnered with Feed the People, which helps to provide the towns with food and essential resources for everyday living. She's far from done, but the progress she's making so far is inspiring. Ja Rule. He has been building a school in Ghana, and it's officially finished now and open to the public. He partnered up with Pencils of Promise and helped build the St. John's Anglican Basic School in Naza in the eastern region of the country. So with the addition of this new block, is going to help with the problem of overcrowded classrooms, making the learning process more personal and more room to operate. I'm pretty sure he's going to do more with the partnership because he has nothing but good things to say about Ghana and how he wants to help more. Naomi Campbell. She has a luxurious villa in Kenya. After visiting the country so many times, she finally decided to get some property there, and the place looks amazing. It's located on the luxury resort land that hosts private residents, and hers is one of them. So instead of building property and such, she decided to live her soft life in peace in a nice, spacious villa. Steve Harvey. He has talked many good things about Ghana since him and his wife visited, and it was a very emotional trip for him as he cried while visiting the slave castles there. He has also...
So can y'all see the trends? Can you see the fulfillment of prophecy? Can you see the patterns? Y'all think it's all coincidence? All at the time that the woman in America, aka Babylon, is being attacked. At the same time that we see this global threat of World War III happening, Negroes moving back to the continent, associating with the continent, you know, building businesses on the continent. I'm just saying, y'all think all of that is coincidence? I mean, you know, we've been talking about this for what, over 10 years? What was going to happen, and it's happening now. You can expect you're going to flee, right? Y'all believe me now? Y'all believe me now that y'all going to have to flee? Because you know what I think? I think even the Gentiles believe me. I think the Gentiles even believe me. I'll still be waiting on them apology emails. I'm not going to hold my breath, though.
Whichever you want to do. We're going to help you profile yourself and determine what place is best for you. And I already heard somebody talking on the way down. This is an exclusion process for them. They're going to take off places they don't want to go, which is a perfectly valid way to.
So if the Gentiles looking to leave, what you going to do? If the Gentiles looking to leave, what's your plan? Now, what I'm going to talk about right quick is my view on something that Truth Unveiled talked about, not Truth Unedited, Truth Unveiled. And I have respect for Truth Unveiled. Truth to find some nuggets. Now, I don't agree with his position of the timing of things. So, but I wanted to add my position on what Truth Unveiled has said. So, but I do respect him because he sees little things and nuggets, and you know. So let's look at that, and we can call it a day. So the crossover, Babylon. So we talked about the Masoret in one of my other shows, right? Of Yahuwah's calendar. So Job 38:32 asks, can you bring forth Masoret in this season? The Masoret is the ordered sequence of the constellations. Genesis 1:14 explains that the lights in the heaven serve as signs for appointed time. So like I mentioned in the Masoret video, it's a calendar. The Moadim. Unlike astrology, which distorts their meaning, the Masoret is Yahuwah's precise calendar. The heavens are not chaotic. They are a divine timepiece that marks his plan. When the sun, moon, and stars align or darken, they signal awakenings, judgment, and deliverance. Okay, awakenings, judgment, and deliverance. So we had the awakening. We're under the judgments. The next thing is deliverance. 2017, sign of the woman and the awakening of Israel. On September 23rd, 2017, the constellation Virgo appeared clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet, and a crown of 12 stars formed by Leo aligned with Mercury, Mars, and Venus. Revelation 12 describes this very image, a woman in travail, opposed by the dragon, and prepared to flee into the wilderness. So is it coincidence that in 2017, we saw this sign in the heaven? We had the massive awakening of the Ezra Alawi around the world. And now we have the woman being chased by the dragon. I'm like, is it a coincidence, family? I'm just asking. Yes or no? Is it a coincidence? Or could we literally be in Revelation 12? I think we're in Revelation 12, which means Revelation 13, not too far away. That same year, millions of descendants of the transatlantic slave trade and scattered Israelites, or Ezra Alawi, across the earth began to awaken to their true identity. The declaration of Israelite heritage spread quickly and widely. The Virgo alignment of 2017 stood as the heavenly announcement of that earthly awakening. The woman appeared in the Mazzaroth, and her children stood up on earth. 2nd Esdras 6, 18 and 19 declares, behold, the day is coming, it shall be, when I am about to draw near to visit the dwellers upon the earth, and when I require of those who do unrighteously the penalty of their unrighteousness, and when the humiliation of Zion is complete. When the humiliation of Zion is complete, our humiliation is over, right? End of the 400 years. Come on now. Hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. This passage reveals two connected realities. Yahuwah draws near to judge the nations, beginning his inquisition of the unrighteous. Did not Minister tell you, say this looks like the Inquisition, but it's not going to be us. I mean, we're going to leave, but we're not going to be the ones that's deleted. At the same time, the humiliation of Zion, the oppression of the Ezra Alawi reaches its appointed end. Together, these signals mark the turning of history toward restoration. Is it a coincidence that the sign of the woman happened in 2017? The Ezra Alawi woke up around the world in mass, and the dragon got angry and came after us. Is it a coincidence? When this is tied to the sign of 2017, the alignment often linked to Revelation 12, it becomes more than an astronomical alignment. It stands as a marker in time, a divine announcement that Yahuwah's visitation had begun. From that point forward, the nations entered a season of accountability, and Israel entered a season of awakening. See, that's the problem of the people who are not awakened. That's the problem of the people who are not awakened. They don't understand that these are prophetic times. This is the problem of the people who are like crying because, you know, the military's in our cities. Well, the Bible told us that the dragon was going to chase the woman. What did you think that was going to manifest as? 2017 and 2024 eclipses forming the crossover Babylon. Alongside the Virgo alignment, another sign unfolded in the heavens. On August 21st, 2017, a total solar eclipse crossed the United States from northwest to southwest. Y'all remember this, right? Give me a one if y'all remember this event. 7 years later, the number of completion. 7 years later, on April 8, 2024, a second total eclipse cut across the nation from southwest to northeast. Together, the two eclipse paths formed a giant X across America. So here's the second eclipse, right? This X is a mark of judgment. The first stroke in 2017 came as the woman appeared and the awakening began. The second stroke in 2024 completed the seal. Amos 8:9 declares, I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. The double eclipse fulfilled this sign. After 2024, America's judgment as Babylon of Jeremiah 50:51 was fixed and irreversible. So in 2024, the judgment of America was fixed and irreversible. We would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Her judgment is fixed. So 2017, 2024, her judgment is fixed. Jeremiah 51:9, we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone unto his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Now, I'm just asking, is it coincidence that I showed you the video, right? Them folks leaving, right? Once again,
whichever you want to do. We're going to help you profile yourself and determine what place is best for you. And I already heard somebody talking on the way down. This is an exclusion process for them. They're going to take off places they don't want to go, which is a perfectly valid.
is it coincidence that people are going back to their own country? They're leaving America. They're leaving Babylon. Is it coincidence that the Ezra Alawi, the Negroes, the blacks, the descendants of slaves are now talking about going to the continent? Relationships are being formed with the continent. They're trying to get us to go to the continent by giving us black ambassadors to promote Benin. This is not about, travel and vacationing. This is about us getting the heck out of here. Y'all think it's coincidence? The preparation years is 2024 to 2026. After the sealing eclipse, because, her judgment is fixed. After the sealing eclipse, a period of preparation began. So remember, we said after 2019, judgment is going to happen. And then the second Exodus, or really the wilderness, and then later the second Exodus. So we're about to go into the wilderness. So all of this is lining up prophetically, right? So this is the preparation years, 2024 to 2026. After the sealing eclipse, right? Her judgment is fixed. A period of preparation begins, just as Israel observed a day of preparation before the Sabbath. The years 2024 to 2026 serve as a preparation for the flight into the wilderness. In this time, the awakened Israelites gather, organize, and are refined under Yahuwah's hand. So we're being refined, right? We're being tried as if gold in the fire or silver being refined. We're being refined. I'm just saying, that is it coincidence? I mean, look at the timing. Look how it fits prophetically. 2nd Ezra 16:40-41 declares, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that shall lose. So even 2nd Ezra say, flee. This gives the picture of a people called to prepare, not for ease, but for displacement. The word battle points not only to physical conflict, but to the struggle of survival, faith, and endurance in the face of upheaval, right? You're going to be forced to flee. The image of being pilgrims upon the earth means Israel must live lightly in the world, free from attachment to possessions or systems that are about to collapse. Is that not what I told y'all to do? Prepare, get your bags packed, because we're going to have to get the heck out of Dodge. And we're going to go and be what? Refugees. As it says in 2nd Ezra, pilgrims upon earth. Modern terminology, refugees. But hey, I get pushback. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here for another 10 years at least. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying. When applied to the present timeline, this aligns with the years of preparation between 2017 awakening and the coming wilderness exodus. Israel is instructed to break away from Babylon's systems, to prepare spiritually and practically, and to expect instability. The instructions in verses 41 to 44 confirm the same. The one who sells should not expect to gain, and the one who buys should not expect to keep it. The economy, possessions, and homes all become fragile and temporary like the tent of a pilgrim. Is that not what I've been telling y'all to prepare? Does not all of this line up with what we're seeing today? Can you not possibly see the fulfillment of these things today? I'm just asking. Give me a 1 if you can see it. Give me a 2 if you don't. The Wilderness Flight 2026 to 27. This is just my opinion. It's not hardcore. It's just a guess, okay? Revelation 12:6 says the woman flees into the wilderness where Yahuwah nourishes her for 1,260 days. This period matches Daniel 7:25 and Revelation 13:5. The 3.5 years allotted to the beast's dominion. Around 2026 and 2027, the woman, Israel, will be removed into a place of refuge, just as in the first Exodus. So once again, based upon what we're seeing right now, can you not see the possibility that this can happen around 2026 and 27? Think about this right now. The economy's collapsing. People are losing their jobs. People are becoming homeless. People are being persecuted. They're hanging us from trees. And just in case you didn't know, which I didn't show, you know, Colin Kaepernick had paid for that I forgot his name. Y'all can put it in the chat. And paid for his autopsy. And guess what? The police said it was suicide. The second autopsy said he was murdered. Just like we say, black folks don't hang themselves from trees. But can you not see all of these things time-wise? Just look. Yeah, thank you, Trey Reed. Thank you, according to Trey Reed. Just as we see all of these things really set up right now, right? It's sort of like, you know, like when you're playing chess and you're positioning your pieces, you can see, like if you're good at chess, you can see what the plan of the enemy is, right? You can see the pieces already on the board and you can see what his plans are. See, some people don't know how to play chess, so they can't see the plans. But you can see the plans, and it does not the timing, and I'm not saying I'm right, but does not the timing for the wilderness seems to be like it's close, right? It could happen real soon, right? So it's possibly between 2026 and 27. So we had the years of preparation, 2024 to 2026, right? Y'all learning, figuring out who you are, you know, setting some money aside, putting food aside, doing things, right? Trying to figure out, you know, hey, what I need to do, how I'm gonna get to Africa. Some of y'all think y'all gonna stay here. That's fine. I'm just saying it all seems to line up, right? Nourished for 1,260 days, 2027 to 2030 to 2031. Once hidden, Israel will be nourished for 1,260 days. This mirrors the manna of the first Exodus. Supernatural provision sustaining the people as plagues and tribulation fall upon the nations. The limit is fixed, 3.5 years. This takes us into 2030 to 2031 when the wilderness sojourn ends and the gates of Zion open. The confirming 2027 eclipse beginning in Africa. Is this coincidence? On August 2nd, 2027, the longest total eclipse of the century will occur. Its path begins in the Atlantic, right? It begins in the Atlantic. Where are we coming from? From America back to the continent. I'm just saying, its path begins in the Atlantic, then crosses North Africa first, notably Egypt, Libya, and Sudan, before moving eastward into Arabia and Asia. So it comes from the Atlantic and goes across Africa, all the way through West Africa, all the way to East Africa. Now, y'all know where I believe the true Jerusalem is, which is in Ethiopia, which is around Sudan. We coming from the place of our captivity back to the whatever. Take it as you will. The lands of Israel, original bondage and first Exodus, are the very lands darkened in 2027. Exactly as the woman flees into the wilderness. The eclipse confirms that Yahuwah is repeating the Exodus pattern. With Africa as the central stage of his plan, the shadow over Egypt and Sudan is a divine marker that the second Exodus has begun. Entry into Zion would be between 2030 and 2031. Like I said, I'm not a prophet. I'm just telling you what I think I see. It makes sense to me. Will it happen? We're going to find out. Entry to Zion will be between 2030 and 2031. At the close of the 1,260 days, the woman's period of nourishment is complete. The prophets describe this moment with striking detail. Ezekiel 37 speaks of the resurrection of the dry bones and their return to the land. Isaiah 60 proclaims Zion's light rising and her sons and daughters gathered from afar. Zechariah 12 through 14 foretell the deliverance of Jerusalem and the nations brought into judgment. Around 2030 to 2031, Israel comes out of the wilderness and enters Zion. The awakening that began in 2017 reaches its fulfillment. All of this at the same time, right? With all of these things happening, right? And we see the mark of the beast on the horizon with the digital IDs. We see the persecution of our people increasing, right? Which is going to force us to flee. And then there's these signs in the heavens, right? Which denotes judgment. And the timing works for 2030, 2031, which to me, it sort of answers my question. I'm not saying it's correct, but it sort of answers my question, why they have the timeline of Agenda 2030. Why they have their timeline of Agenda 2030. Why are they moving so fast to get this mark of the beast system and this new world order and collapse of the economy and the persecution of Negroes? I'm just saying. The scriptures consistently mark this transition with cosmic signs. Joel 2:31 declares, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of Yahuwah. Matthew 24:29 adds, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light and stars shall fall from heaven. Revelation 6:12-13 echoes the same. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair and the moon became as blood and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. These events are not natural accidents, but creation itself bearing witness of Yahuwah's intervention in history. Now remember, okay, the stars of heaven fall onto the earth. Well, you know, angels are considered stars. We see in Revelation 12 that the woman, right, the dragon chasing the woman, that Satan came down, he fell, and his angels fell with him. I'm just saying it makes sense to me. The next stage is Zion's restoration and coronation. After the heavenly signs, the prophets speak of Israel's return. Yahuwah declares in Ezekiel 37:12-14, I will open your graves and cause you to come out of your graves, O my people, and bring you into the land of Israel, and shall place you in your own land. Isaiah 60 describes the same moment. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, the glory of Yahuwah has risen upon thee. Thy son shall come from afar, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. The reference to those who were asleep rising ties directly to this resurrection promise. It is both the awakening of the scattered people and the revival of the dry bones of Ezekiel's vision. After judgment shakes the nations and the heavens declares Yahuwah's power, his people are restored to their inheritance and Zion takes her crown forever. So, you know, assuming these timings are correct, we should be back in Jerusalem by 2030, 2031. It's just a guess. I'm not a prophet. Don't claim to be a prophet. I just share what I see. You eat the meat, you spit out the bone. The 2034 eclipse closing the cycle. On March 20th, 2034, another total eclipse will cross Africa and parts of the Middle East. This comes 7 years after the 2027 eclipse and 17 years after the 2017 Virgo alignment. It is the bookend in the heavens, closing the wilderness to Zion cycle. From 2017 to 2034, the Mazzaroth and the eclipse testify step by step to Yahuwah's plan: awakening, judgment, wilderness, and restoration. I'm just saying it makes sense to me. I'm not saying I'm right. The 3.5-year prophecy as the anchor. The prophecy of 3.5 years, 1,260 days, or time and a half a time, appears repeatedly in Daniel and Revelation. It marks the span of the beast's reign and Israel's preservation. It sets the wilderness period between 2027 and 2030 or 2031 and fixes the timeline in place. Without this number, the sequence drifts. With it, the Mazzaroth and the eclipse align precisely with the appointed times. Conclusion. The Virgo alignment of 2027 signaled the awakening of Israel. The eclipse of 2017 and 2024 traced a cross over America, sealing Babylon's judgment. She's fixed. She's done. The years that followed 2024 mark a time of preparation. The flight into the wilderness comes in 2026 to 2027, confirmed by the 2027 eclipse that begins in Africa. After 1,260 days in 2030 to 2031, Israel enters Zion. The cycle reaches its close with the 2034 eclipse. From beginning to end, the heavens reveal Yahuwah's timeline. The Mazzaroth is his clock, and its message is clear. Israel is awakening, Babylon is judged, the wilderness lies ahead, and Zion is near. Now, if things don't work out that way, if we still here, then we still here, right? Like I say, I don't claim to be a prophet. I'm just saying it makes sense to me. And if that's the case, and I can see it in world events, I can see it in the patterns of world events and what's happening currently in America and around the world, I can see this happening. I can see us leaving between 26 and 27. Why? I don't think we can survive if we stay here any longer. If Trump and the powers that be and the people in the Middle East are collapsing the economy, bringing in a digital ID, which means you're not going to be able to buy, trade, or sell, right? Even just with the digital ID, they're going to control you. They could shut you out of the economy. Even if you don't get a mark on your right hand or forehead, with a digital ID, you won't even be able to shop. They're going to say, well, you know what? We're going to turn off your money. I just don't see how we can survive. And they shut off all of the government support and the government programs. At the same time, they're threatening Venezuela. They're threatening Russia. China saying they're going to get involved with this whole Middle East thing, which ties back to 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. All of this aligning with Jeremiah 50 and 51. All of this aligning with the Mazzaroth, right? The awakening of the Ezra Alawi around the world. All of these things, it makes sense to me. Personally, even if I were to disregard the scriptures, right? If I would disregard the prophecies, I still don't see how we can survive. Let me ask y'all, give me a one if you, let me ask the question first. Do y'all think we can survive the way things are going? Do y'all think we can stay here another 10 years? Give me a one if you think we can. Give me a two if you think we don't. I don't see how we can survive. I don't see how things are going to go back to normal. I don't see how America could ever become stable anymore. I mean, they already overturned the civil rights of Black Americans. They already destroyed the Constitution. I hope you know the Constitution don't mean anything. They already have military in the streets knocking on your doors and zip tying you and your children. They're already hanging us from trees and calling it suicide. I'm just saying, from a natural viewpoint, I don't see how we can stay much longer. I mean, make it make sense. People are losing their jobs every day by the thousands. I just don't see how we can survive too long here. I mean, just from a natural point of view, we got to leave. Just based upon what I'm seeing. So y'all got to understand, we're dealing with supernatural situation here. These judgments are supernatural. What we're seeing here, in my opinion, is the fulfillment of prophecy. What we're seeing here is the manipulation of society to want to go back to the continent, which, you know, some people might think is the enemy, which partially true, but the enemy is in the hand of Yahuwah. I personally believe that they have made agreements with the African nations. They made agreements with Benin, which is why they have ambassadors. If you have ambassadors, it's because you want people to come and move there, right? They're not talking. They're talking about citizenship. They're not talking about vacations. It's all planned. Why? Because they're gonna make America great again. I'm sorry, white again. And if America gonna be white and then white again, and they know that black folks ain't getting in them fields, ain't no amount of pew-pews, ain't no amount of guns, ain't no amount of oppression gonna get black folks picking cotton, picking veggies, wiping some butt of a cow. Ain't no way you're getting black folks back out there in the fields. They ain't happening. So what they gonna do with you? There's only two things they can do. They can delete you or they can let you go. The Bible says you're gonna have to flee. They're gonna make it where you're uncomfortable. Project 2025 is making it where you're uncomfortable. All of the world is implementing the digital ID. They're going to control your finances. Some of y'all think you can go and buy. Yeah, Ghana is an ECOWAS country. That's why I'm not going there. But some of y'all think y'all can survive here and you're going to buy some land here and you're going to grow your own community. And no, that's not going to happen, because all you're going to do is get your town destroyed again. They will never let you prosper under their control. The system is designed that way. And you're not going to overthrow it. You're not going to be able to fight and overthrow it. Why? Because you got a lot of raccoons. You got a lot of traders in Israel Alawi. You got a lot of traders in the black communities. You're going to be betrayed before you know it. You ain't going to be able to fight. So what you gonna do? What's your plan? See, I'm gonna say this because, you know, I've talked to several people and they ask questions like, well, what are we supposed to do? And I'd be like, the Bible tells you what to do. That's what gets me, right? I get heat because all I do is quote the scriptures. They're like, well, what we gonna do? I say, the Bible tells you what to do, but you don't want to read it. The Bible tells you you're gonna flee, but you don't want to believe it. So based upon what I see, I'm not saying I'm right. I told you I ain't no prophet. I don't know. I just study the scripture. I just tell you what I see. I think there's a high probability that we out of here somewhere between 26, 27. I'm not setting dates for my haters out there. I'm just showing you my research. It could be right. It could be wrong. But even when I look at the pace of the rhythm of the judgments in America, as I measure the pulse of the prophecies, as I see the dragon closing in on the Ezra Alawi, I don't think we have much time. I don't see how we can have much time. I don't see how we can last more than 3 years. Max, that's just me. I'm not a prophet. Never claim to be a prophet. I don't say, thus says Yahuwah, I'm not the one. This is what Yakoba sees with his study and what he sees spiritually, right? Spiritual revelation. I could be right. I could be wrong. I am not the Most High. But family, I'm going to say this. I'm looking forward to see y'all on the continent, baby. I'm looking forward to see y'all on the continent. Love y'all. Peace and blessings, Israel. If you want to support this ministry, you can. You could give Cash App, $TOTW7101, $TOTW7101. You can become a patron member. You can go to the Tell Ministries webpage, click on the donations tab. There's other ways to give. You can buy my brother's book. They always knew we were Israelites. You can buy my book, True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites. Look, bottom line is, I guarantee you're going to learn some stuff. You get the books. Oh, and by the way, the price for True Jerusalem has come down. So, y'all want to go and get it. The price has been lowered. It'd be a good time to get it. So there's a lot of things, as I mentioned, I'm working on, and hopefully it'll be ready soon. And it'll be interesting. It will be challenging to your worldview as an Ezra Alawi, just a little bit. Definitely for those who caught up in camp doctrine. But peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. And pray for this ministry. You pray for me, and I'll pray for you. Peace out. Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites, the groundbreaking work by me, Yakoba Vale, a journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tellministries.com to purchase your book and join Yakoba Vale's teachings on Tell Ministries. Family, your journey to a hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey into the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem.